What's up, guys? Jared here with General Exploration and Discovery, and in this video I'm going to be giving you guys facts about truck drivers. So if any of you guys out there have thought about becoming a truck driver, you're going to like what I have to say in this video, or you may not like what I have to say in this video. It could be discouraging to you, and that's not at all my intention in this video. I'm meaning to simply give you guys facts to help you guys decide if this career path could be for you. And I state some pretty simple things in this video, so that way you guys can make a good informed decision. I've been around this industry my whole life, so I know what I'm talking about here for the most part. With that being said, here are some facts, and hopefully this can help you kind of guide you guys if this is something that you're interested in or thinking about pursuing. Here's the video. Facts about trucking that most people probably did not know. So, fact number one is going to be truck drivers are usually pretty lonely, especially over the road drivers. And this applies mainly to over the road drivers, what I'm about to say here. That when they are out hauling across the country, they are pretty lonely because they're usually by themselves. And there's some people that have their families going with them, or girlfriend, or wives, and kids, and all the kind of things like that. But they're a lot more lonely out there. So just remember to be respectful out there, guys. And I feel like a lot of people forget that these truck drivers are out there trying to deliver the goods that you buy in the store, mind you. So be respectful of them out there on the road. And whenever you think that they're in your way because they can't get up in speed, just remember that that's the company that they're driving for that sets the speeds on those trucks. They have nothing to do with it. Believe me. They're getting paid by the mile. Well, a lot of those drivers out there, they would prefer if their truck would actually run the speed limit. But it's just the way it is. So that was one fact about being a truck driver. Fact number two of being a truck driver. If you want to stay in shape, you should not be a truck driver. The usually consensus is that, and this was done by a Department of Health study, that truck drivers are usually more unhealthy. And this, again, was more of a study of over-the-road drivers. You're constantly in the truck. You're in the truck for 14 hours a day. You're sleeping in the truck. You're living out of it. You got stuff in your refrigerator. You're going into truck stops, which usually only have fast food, fried foods, deep fried foods. You're getting that. You're drinking a lot of sugar to stay awake. And I've really tried to cut back on the sugar, but a lot of drivers do. They drink a lot of sugar and stuff to be able to stay awake, especially if they're driving at nighttime and they're tired. They'll drink a lot of soda to try to stay awake. So they're unhealthy. That's just, and that's a pretty general common consensus, is that most truck drivers are usually unhealthy, and as they drive for a while, even if they don't put on weight, then their body and all that setting is not good for you. Fact number three about truck drivers. The majority of the time, they are usually waiting hours and hours and sometimes days to get loaded and unloaded. And this is just the part of the freight industry that drives everybody insane. And it's one of those things that could definitely be improved on. These places just don't seem to care. I know guys who've waited 5 days just to be able to unload at a plant, hauling a tanker trailer to where they can unload it themselves, but the storage tanks don't have enough and space in them, and then they just can't haul it down far enough. So that was another fact, though. It can take a really long time to get unloaded. So if you don't have a lot of patience to sit there and waiting, then being a truck driver is not for you. It takes a lot of patience. You're putting up with people on the road. You pull in a truck stops, especially, again, if you're going over the road. You're not going to be able to just whip in and whip out like you would in a car. And a lot of times, especially at nighttime, if you're still out there on the road and you're trying to find a place to stay, it gets a lot harder the later it gets in the evening, because all them truck stops are filled up, and there's so many trucks, and there's more and more trucks on the road every year because there's just more and more freight, because there's more and more people, and there's a shortage of truck drivers right now too, about 300,000. So I encourage you, if this is something that you ever thought about doing, now would be the time, because the rates are only going to go up. The owner operator rates are down right now, but those will go back up too just as soon as they'll be going back up, guys. It's a fluctuating market. It's just like working out there in the oil fields. The market's up, it's down. They need you, they don't need you. It's one of those types of deals. But if you work for a company, then especially a bigger company, then the work will definitely be consistent for you. I would encourage you guys to do that. Or if you're worried about black leaving your family, check into some local jobs. There's some great jobs with Coca-Cola and Pepsi. So that being said, that was fact number 3. I know I added on some extra information right there. That was number 3, is that it takes a long time to get loaded and unloaded most of the time. Number 4 is a question I get asked a lot. Do you have to own your own truck if you're a truck driver? The answer is no. A lot of people do not own their own truck. So we call that an owner-operator for those of you guys that are new to the industry and everything. But the ones that do own their trucks are the ones. Some people think you can make a lot more money by owning your truck, but a lot of people don't understand the kind of money it takes to actually operate a truck, because you've got a lot of extra expenses there. And I'm not just talking about fuel costs, because you have 100-gallon plus tanks on each side and you got to fill those up with diesel at least once a week. If you're running it even decently, you're going to have to fill those diesel tanks up at least once a week. I can guarantee that. But I mean, all the extra expenses. You got the cost of, if you're driving to places like Oklahoma, you're going to have the toll roads. So you're going to want to try to get a pike pass for that to get through it. Scales. That's another thing. It's going to cost you some money, but buying a scale bypasses, those would definitely be worth your money as well if you're going to own and operate your own truck. I recommend to people, if you're going to buy your own truck, work for somebody else for at least a year. Most people say 2 years. I say at least a year. 2 years would be preferable, because after 2 years, if you're safe about it, you have no accidents, the insurance rates will come way down. So if you want to run your own truck, then your insurance will be way cheaper for you to put it on there. You are required at most places, though, if you're hauling for them, to carry so much insurance. J.B. Hunt took over a lot of Simmons chicken hauling back over where I used to live. And I was asking a friend of mine about it who actually worked at Simmons. Well, the thing is, they require you to carry so many multi-million dollars of insurance. I mean, it's to the point where it's ridiculous. J.B. Hunt, being the trucking mega giant it is, was one of the only few places, and they wanted those contracts, but they were one of the only few companies that could actually afford the insurance that they wanted to carry, because it is live cargo. The chicken's going to Simmons chicken facilities. So that's another thing with cost, is the insurance. And then you have your IFTA stickers, which are your fuel stickers that you're paying for and everything. And there are certain states, if you enter, which you have to pay even more tax on, because you have to have your this is where it gets confusing to a lot of people. There are multiple states to where if you're going to be trucking over in them, you actually have to own, or you not own, you have to pay them more taxes because you're driving through their state and everything. It gets into a whole other deal there, being an owner operator. And also, if you're going to be going up to northern states and some of these other states, you are required to have tire chains. So if you're running your own truck, you've also got to have that. And then you've also got to be able to put back money. Even if you're making good money, you got to be able to put back money, because an engine overhaul now is going to cost you $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 depending on which engine doing it and what you have done to it. The costs really add up on this stuff. The mechanical cost, the insurance cost, and just all that in between, and even a lot of things you need, and semi-truck tires and stuff are just, you got to have them to run, and just one of those things. And if you're running a newer truck, you're required to run what they call DEF, D-E-F, DEF, and that's diesel exhaust fluid, and that's going to cost you more. And if you have that on your truck because it's newer, the repairs are going to cost you more because of that system. And then if you've got that system and the regen system on it, your repairs are going to be just utterly ridiculous. I mean, I know a guy that actually drives that actually drives a brand new truck, didn't even have 10,000 miles on it, Oh, the regen started acting up on it, but it's still under warranty for the big company, so they went in and got it fixed for free. But it would have been like a $7,000 bill or something, just on that for a trailer that didn't even have 10,000 miles on it. I mean, if it was out there on its own, I mean, owner operators just can't afford to do that. So before you buy your own truck, I know this video is about the facts of truck driving stuff, and it is, but everything I just said there is true. So before you do it, really think about, am I going to be able to swing all this? Is what I'm hauling worth what I'm going to have to pay to get into this game? Another fact about truck driving is that people do not respect truck drivers anymore, and as sad as it is to say, and I'm not saying that everybody doesn't, but back in the 70s and 80s, you've seen all them trucking movies coming out. Well, back then, people actually respected truck drivers. Now, people are in such a hurry, and they cut them off and act like they can stop on a dime, and I've known a lot of people, because of insurance reasons and stuff, though, and they see all these deals on TV about the semi-wreck cases and everything, that purposely try to get a semi-truck to hit them. They purposely try to do this and that to get them to hit them so they can try to sue them for a lot of money. That made no sense to me, because even if they do and they're at fault, you've got 40 tons at least, usually, rolling towards you. So you gotta, I mean, people were just insane in that. But this is another fact. People do not respect truck drivers anymore, and all they see them as is a nuisance. And I don't understand like where this comes from. Going back to what I was saying earlier, they're not there to clog up the road. They're hauling goods that everybody needs and the goods that you buy in a store. So give them more respect. And the final fact I'm going to give you guys here today, going back into kind of the medical stuff, is a lot of truck drivers, especially if they've been driving for years and years, have hearing loss because the truck is so loud. Like when they're going down the road, it's almost like being next to an airplane. It seems like whenever we're going down the road, hearing loss is pretty common, or tinnitus develops because of all the constant noise. So if you're a person that has very sensitive hearing, truck driving is probably not going to be for you. It's one of those things, it's extremely loud, and even if your truck isn't running, because they have the APU units now, is what they're called, or that's what I call them. But they're a unit that pulls off of your diesel tanks. They can keep your cab cool and heated and everything. So your truck isn't running at night time, so it's not serving. But if you have somebody that pulls in with an older reefer trailer, that's the refrigerated trailer that you see that has the other fuel tank underneath and the unit on the front of it there, which is powering and pulling off that diesel tank in order to keep the trailer inside cold. The old ones were extremely loud. So if they were right next to your truck, and like where that is, it's going to be right next to your sleeper on your truck, that's going to be humming next to you all night long. So if you're a person that doesn't like noise, this definitely is not for you. And I just have to say that because a lot of people don't understand that when that diesel engine on that semi-truck gets to rolling down the highway, it gets to be extremely loud. A lot louder than what a lot of people think. Not so loud that you can't like hear stuff inside the cab, because that would be extremely dangerous. But it's louder than what you think. And if you're going down the highway with that thing wound up, and it's even louder when you're going to take off, because that's when you're winding it up and it's going and it's screaming and everything. So these are things that you should keep in mind. Hopefully for those of you guys out there that were considering this path as a field, or this this career path as a field here, hopefully something in this video struck out to you guys, or it kind of like, I don't mean to discourage you guys, but I'm just speaking straight facts. I've been around this industry my whole life, so it's kind of easy for me to speak on these things. God bless each and every one of you. I'm Jared with JNR Exploration and Discovery. Until next time, guys, take care. Subscribe and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads.